there, everyone. This is Anarchist coming to you from the dark side of the moon here on the Wham Radio Network on And After Hours. Sorry, guys, for the long break. I know I normally do a weekly show, but I ran into some technical issues with my laptop. But it's all fixed now, so I'm back doing this again. A couple of updates. We have a new show starting on the Wham Radio Network. It is called The Masturbation Station, hosted by Xander Mann. I'm so excited to start on this new escapade with Xander. I mean, he's so funny, and it's the right amount of raunchy and dirty I really, really like. So I'm looking forward to starting this new show, getting it going on the Wham Radio Network, and hopefully getting some new viewers and new listeners coming in. So today's episode of And After Hours, remember the 5th of November. And that's today's episode. While everybody is over here watching the elections, I don't want to give them attention. I don't want to even give them the rating or the views because they don't deserve my attention at all. I don't understand why everyone cannot get over the notion that it doesn't matter what the throne looks like. Instead of worrying about what the throne looks like and who's going to sit on it, let's actually worry about a lot of the stuff that's going on right now that's really happening. Aside from the COVID cases, guys, we got people committing suicide. Okay, the suicide rates have been going up steadily, day by day, month by month, and nobody wants to talk about any of those things. Okay, we got people unemployed here day by day. What is it? I just watched something today. It was on the Epic Economist. Actually, subscribe to their YouTube channel because they are very insightful. On one of their episodes today, I watched them say, and I misquoted, so correct me if I'm wrong, guys, that at the end of this year, about another 40% of restaurants are going to close. We're talking about a big section of the economy here. But we're all worried about the dog and pony show that's going on right now. Then we have, of course, the convids, right? You got the convid, going on. And that's what I'm going to call it because it is a con, guys. They're conning us into giving away our rights and our liberties. Who cares if it's Trump or Biden in power? Okay, at the end of the day, they're here to work for the banks. And at the end of the day, they still made money off of us. Now, there's just so many things that I could go over in this time because, one, I'm behind on episodes. I know I haven't been able to put out as much content on a weekly basis like I normally do, so I do apologize to my listeners. But so much has been happening in such little time that it has not even given us a chance to even take a breath. There are no brakes on this rape train, guys. And that's what's been going on. They're definitely trying to make sure that we have no time to respond. Now, we know that there's going to be a global reset, guys. They've been talking about it for months and months and months. The new normal is what they're going to call it. We all know that they're going to get rid of cash. They're going to get rid of private transactions. They don't care about any of that stuff anymore. And it's not even that they don't care about it. They actually do care about it. And they care about it so much so that they want to take it away. But they want us to not care about it. Now you're all going to sit here and tell me, well, we're the American people. We'll never take that. We'll never turn over. We'll never get rid of our cash. Really? Look at how easily it took for them to get rid of our jobs, to close down the entire market. They ask for an inch and they go a mile once you give them the inch. And then the worst thing about it is they come back and say, it was your fault in the first place. And that's how we know that we are definitely in a tyrannical system. Now, I'm not a psychic, guys. I am into mysticism, astrotheology. I'm into Gnosticism. I'm into a lot of things. But I am not into superstition. And unfortunately, politics is superstition. The last couple of weeks, I've been trolling atheist Facebook pages because, their giant brains and their giant, to fit their egos. And just to mind you guys, I really shouldn't be talking smack about them because I did used to be a 10-year atheist. I was one for a long time. Up until I had an epiphany, but that might be another story. But I've been trolling the atheist pages and stuff like that because you know how like they like to make fun of people who believe in God or have some theosophical a component to their personality of some sort, if you believe in something. And I was telling them, you could, sit here, talk to me about why I believe in God, ask me a question, talk to me about it, and I'll sit here and I'll talk to you about why it's delusional for you to believe in government. Talk to me about my delusion and I'll talk to you about your delusion. No gods, no masters, and no God kings here, And I can't say that I call myself a Christian. I might follow some Christian principles and some ideologies, but I consider myself more eclectic. Okay? But what does this have to do to weigh in on all of this? Well, guys, this is a ritual. This selection process. This is not even an election. It's a selection, guys. They are using words and spells and magic against us and a lot of occult practices. Look at this. It's all a ritual. Every 4 years, we all have to go to the voting polls, and print, put a talisman in a box, and say that this person's going to be in charge. But that's just not how it works. Like, the dark occultists know that that's how it works for them. That's how they're getting it to work for them. It doesn't work for us, guys, because we're not in, all right? But it works for them. Now, one of the best phrases that I've heard that's always stuck to me, it was I'm pretty sure Jordan Maxwell was the one who said it. It doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter what I believe. What matters is whoever owns us, what they believe. Okay? They could go out there and prance around and say that they're Christians and Catholics and Baptists and this and that. These politicians, Muslim, whatever. But we all know what they really are. We all know who they really are. Their quote-unquote religion is nothing more than empty window dressing for their real religion, their real God. And it's called government, guys. What was it? The other day, I went and rewrote, because, just to let you guys know, I am a recovered alcoholic. Just to let you know, I went to AA for a long time. And to be honest, that's not where I found my spirituality. I went and found that on my own terms. But, so I am a recovered alcoholic. And I remember one day I was sitting reciting the Alcoholic Anonymous, like whenever we start a meeting, you have to repeat this every day. It's, like a little anthem that we tell ourselves every day how, we're powerless to alcohol and all this stuff. So believe it or not, I rewrote the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous for the recovering statist. What are the 12 steps of recovering from statism? And it, people have been asking me, can you read it? Can you tell me, So I'm going to read my version of the 12-step program, but instead of it being for alcoholics, it's going to be for people who are voters. So I dedicate this episode of Ann After Hours to every voter that is out there in America who went to the voting booths, who decided to violate my rights and freedoms and the rights and freedoms of every other American living on this country and every other person who lives on the face of this planet, because it's not just a country. We are all one. All right? So here is Anarchist 12-step program recovering from statism. Step 1. We admitted we were powerless over government, that our lives had become unmanageable. Step 2. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves can restore us to sanity. Step 3. We make a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of the universe as we understood it. Step 4. Make a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Step 5. Admit to God and to ourselves, or the universe, whichever you want to call it, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongdoings. Voting. Step 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character. We're going to have God remove the defects of the state from our character. Amen. Step 7. Humbly ask God to remove all our shortcomings so that we will not fall back to government's ways. Step 8. Make a list of all persons we have harmed and became willing to make amends with them all. So remember, voters, once you recover from the state, it is your job and your duty to apologize to every fellow American who you voted against, who you've hurt through the voting process. Don't forget, voting is violence. Step 9. Made a direct amend to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. So, of course, the golden rule. Step 9 is the golden rule. Step 10. Continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admit it. Don't fall back to government's old ways. Make sure that you check yourself, so that way you don't relapse and go back to the state. Okay? Step 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscience. That our conscience contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. So having self-responsibility, guys, self-ownership, that is what we need to come to. And the last step, having a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps. We try to carry this message to statists everywhere, to practice these principles in all affairs. For that rarely we've seen anyone who followed these steps fail. And that is fact, guys. So, remember the 5th of November. Remember this day, guys. Remember this election. Remember this selection. Remember the banks. Remember the politicians. Remember the captains and the precinct captains that took your votes. Remember the taxes. Remember the infringements on our rights. Remember the bump stock bans. And don't forget especially to wear that schmuck mask. This is Anarchist coming to you from the dark side of the moon here on And After Hours on the Wham Radio Network. I am so saddened to see the state of affairs come to the cusp as it is today. But I do have hope for you guys, and I will still stay here and fight for your guys' right to your freedom. Alright guys, stay warm, stay safe, and especially stay vigilant. I'll talk to you here on the very next show.
Soma injection. Hope you don't mind if we rig the election. Freedom of speech.